Welcome back, Exposing the Con in Conservative. Thom Hartmann here with you. Ron Pollock is with us. He is the founding executive director of Families USA, familiesusa.org. Ron, welcome back to the program.
Well, delighted to be with you, Tom.
Thank you. You have been involved for much of your life in healthcare policy and do a really, really great job. You really know what's going on. What in your mind is the biggest? What do our listeners and viewers need to know about what happened today?
Well, the bottom line is the Affordable Care Act is moving forward. This was a big victory, and the way I think about it, what this really will achieve is to provide peace of mind to families so that the health care and coverage that they need will be there for them when they need it. The Affordable Care Act provides a huge number of things for people that protect them from insurance company bad practices, like denying coverage due to pre-existing conditions for kids who might have asthma or diabetes, or charging discriminatory premiums based on health status, or charging women a discriminatory higher premium, placing arbitrary caps on how much they pay out in a year or in a lifetime, so someone with a major illness or accident is denied coverage at a point they most need it. The Affordable Care Act provides subsidies for middle-class families so they can afford health coverage. It'll add coverage for tens of millions of people across the country. It'll even help senior citizens by providing them with preventive care services for free under Medicare, and it closes the big gap in coverage they have for prescription drugs. So, the Affordable Care Act now moves forward in all these different ways, and those who are trying to attack it were hoping that they could take down all of these new protections and benefits. And the bottom line is they lost, and America's families won, and we're going to see these benefits and these protections in effect in states across the country.
Now, the Medicare decision, we didn't win.
You mean the Medicaid?
Medicaid. Thank you for correcting me. Medicaid is the state-federal partnership programs administered by the states for basically below poverty level or below a percentage of poverty level people in those states. And in that case, there was a carrot and a stick. The carrot was, we're going to give you a whole bunch of extra money for Medicaid for you to administer programs. In fact, Vermont wants to use that money to create a single-payer system for their state. The stick was, if you don't take this money, you lose all your Medicaid money. The Supreme Court Chief Justice Roberts, in his opinion, said, you can't. That's too big a stick.
That's right.
And so, what do we do?
Well, the carrot is huge, and I think that carrot is so substantial that states, I believe, will avail themselves of it. Remember,
but Scott Walker's already said he's not going to take it. And I mean, I think that the thinking here of these Republican governors is that they can turn it down. I mean, they've had no reluctance to punish people who are on food stamps. I mean, Rick Scott was trying to drug test them all, or actually did. It's like poor people are the easily kicked to the curb in our society.
Yeah, any governor who turns this down is committing fiscal malpractice. That one of the parallel programs is the so-called Children's Health Insurance Program. It's an optional program. It's not a mandatory program. And the amount paid by the federal government to cover the cost of that program is quite a bit lower than the Affordable Care Act provides with respect to the coverage in that legislation. And so we already have precedents of literally every single state in the country picking up the Children's Health Insurance Program when they didn't have to do so. Now, it means that a governor who's thinking of turning it down, the governor, in fact, is then saying, well, our state will pick up costs like uncompensated health care for the uninsured, like when they come to public hospitals, and, the states will pick that up. Why not take 100% and ultimately 90% from the federal government? There's never been such a generous carrot offered to the states.
Yeah, that's right. Reagan's mandate required the states to see people if they show up at emergency rooms and pay for it. So this would cover the backside of that.
Yeah, well, so now people will get care, in a timely basis. They'll get preventive care and primary care. They won't just show up in emergency rooms when the problem is too late. We issued a report last week that was based on the methodology developed by the Institute of Medicine, the prestigious scientific body on healthcare, that showed that in 2010, more than 26,000 people died due to a lack of health insurance. Well, this is a big deal, and so I think that some of the governors are acting still based on politics.
Right.
This litigation was politics. They wanted to wipe out the entire Affordable Care Act despite all the help it provides. Now they've lost that. The law of the land,
right.
5-4 decision, and that's despite the fact that the majority of the appointees are Republicans.
Now the right wingers are buzzing that John Roberts changed his vote because the president threatened him or something. Or he had to have been offered something. Middle of the road folks are saying, well, maybe he's concerned about his legacy, or he just, accepted the argument. I'm wondering if they're voting on Diebold machines. I'm curious what your theory is.
Well, I was in the court all 3 days during oral argument. I've argued cases in the Supreme Court. I used to be a law school dean. Mm-hmm. I think almost all legal scholars, by a huge margin, before this litigation came to the Supreme Court, said it really didn't have merit. And even justice clerks, by a huge margin, said they didn't think this case had merit. And the only reason this was close is because this was a highly contentious political issue. I think Justice Roberts tried to rule on the merits here.
Yeah. Well, that's what he's supposed to do. So that would be the good thing, I suppose. Ron Pollock, the founding executive director of Families USA, FamiliesUSA.org. Thank you, Ron.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me.
Great talking with you. We'll be back.